I came home from my sister's funeral to find my bedroom door locked. Not stuck. Locked. With one of those cheap hardware store deadbolts that hadn't been there when I left 3 days ago. My daughter Rachel stood in the hallway, arms crossed, looking anywhere but at me. Behind her, my son-in-law Marcus leaned against the wall with that same smirk he'd worn the day he convinced Rachel to let them move in temporarily 5 years ago. "Dad, we need to talk." Rachel's voice was small, smaller than it had been when she was 8 and confessing to breaking my toolbox. I set down my overnight bag. About why there's a lock on my bedroom door? Marcus's father needs a place to stay. His apartment building is being renovated. So you gave him my room. Not a question. The anger hadn't hit yet. Just this cold, clear understanding that this was actually happening. Marcus pushed off the wall. "Look, Gerald, my dad's got health issues. He needs the master bedroom. It's got the attached bathroom, better for his mobility. Your stuff is all in the garage. We moved it carefully. You moved my belongings into the garage." "Just temporarily," Rachel said quickly, "until we figure something out." I walked past them. The garage door was open, my bed frame leaning against the wall, boxes everywhere, my mother's quilt thrown over a stack of plastic bins, the wooden chest my father made me when I turned 18 sitting on the concrete floor. They'd been thorough, even taken the photos off my walls. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds. Then I walked back inside, pulled out my phone, and called my lawyer. "Tom? It's Gerald Watson. I need you to draw up an eviction notice." "Yes, I know what time it is." "No, this can't wait until Monday." Rachel's face went white. "Dad, you can't." "This is my house, Rachel. My name is on the deed. Your name is not. Marcus's name is definitely not." I looked at my son-in-law. "You have 30 days to vacate the premises." "You're kicking out your own daughter?" Marcus's smirk was gone. "I'm evicting people who broke into my bedroom, installed a lock without my permission, and moved an unauthorized occupant into my home." I kept my voice level. 42 years working in civil engineering taught me how to stay calm when structures were collapsing. "Rachel is welcome to stay if she'd like. You and your father are not." An older man appeared in the hallway. Had to be Marcus's father. He looked confused, holding a TV remote. "What's all the yelling about?" "Nothing, Dad," Marcus said. "Just go back to the room." "That's not your father's room," I said. "That's my room, in my house, which I bought with my own money in 1987. The old man looked at Marcus. "You said this was your place." "It is, Dad. Don't worry about it." "No," I said. "It's not. Your son lied to you." Rachel was crying now. "Dad, please. We just needed—" "What you needed was to ask, like adults. Instead, you waited until I was at my sister's funeral to stage a home invasion." I picked up my overnight bag. "I'm going to stay at a hotel tonight. When I come back tomorrow, I expect Marcus's father gone and my bedroom restored, or Tom files the eviction paperwork first thing Monday morning." I drove to a Hampton Inn on the interstate, sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes before I could make myself go inside. My sister Linda was dead at 63, breast cancer. I'd just spent 3 days watching her kids fall apart, being the strong one, holding it together. And I came home to this. The hotel room was generic and clean. I sat on the edge of the bed and finally let myself feel it. Not just angry, betrayed. Linda had warned me 2 years ago when I'd mentioned Rachel and Marcus were still living with me. "Gerald, they're using you," she'd said. "Rachel's a grown woman with a husband who works full-time. They can afford their own place. They're saving up for a house." For 5 years, Linda had given me that look, the one she'd perfected in childhood when I was being deliberately obtuse. "Wake up, baby brother. They found a free ride and they're not getting off." I should have listened, but Rachel was my only child. After her mother died, I'd promised myself I'd always be there for her. Apparently, I'd confused being supportive with being a doormat. My phone buzzed. Text from Rachel. "Dad, please come home. We need to talk about this." I typed back. "We can talk when my room is restored and Marcus's father is gone. Not before." Another buzz. Marcus this time. "You're being unreasonable. We'll figure out a compromise." I blocked his number. The next morning, I called a locksmith before I called anyone else. Had him meet me at the house at 9 a.m. Rachel's car was in the driveway. Marcus's truck was gone. Rachel opened the door, looking like she hadn't slept. Dad, is Marcus's father still here? He left this morning. Marcus took him to a motel. Good. The locksmith will be here in 10 minutes. We're changing all the locks. You're really doing this? Yes. I walked past her to my bedroom. The door was open now. The cheap deadbolt removed, but the holes still visible in my doorframe. My furniture was back, but nothing was where it should be. Drawers closed wrong. Bedspread wrinkled. My father's wooden chest shoved in the corner. They'd hung different curtains, heavier ones, darker. I took them down and carried them to the garage. Found my curtains in a box labeled Bedroom, Gerald, like I was a guest in my own house. The locksmith arrived. Young guy, maybe 30. Professional. He took one look at the situation and didn't ask questions. Just got to work. Rachel hovered in the hallway. Dad, can we please talk? When he's done, it took 45 minutes. New deadbolts on the front and back doors. New lock on my bedroom door. The locksmith handed me the keys, just 2 sets this time. These are the only copies? I asked. Yes, sir. I can make more if you need them. I don't. I paid him, added a generous tip. After he left, I sat down at the kitchen table. Rachel sat across from me. She'd been crying again. I'm sorry, she said. We shouldn't have done it that way. But Dad, Marcus's father really did need help. Then Marcus should have helped him, in an apartment Marcus pays for, or a motel, or literally anywhere that isn't my bedroom. We can't afford. Rachel, you're 34 years old. Marcus is 36. You've both been working full-time for over a decade. The fact that you can't afford anything tells me exactly where this conversation needs to go. She looked down at her hands. Still wearing her mother's wedding ring. I'd given it to her when she turned 21. Sarah would have known what to say right now. She always knew how to be firm without being cruel. I've let this go on too long, I continued. You and Marcus living here rent-free. Me paying all the utilities, the property taxes, the insurance, buying most of the groceries, maintaining everything. We help out. You do dishes sometimes and mow the lawn when I remind you 3 times. That's not helping out. That's the bare minimum. So what are you saying? I'm saying you're an adult, and it's time to act like one. You and Marcus have 30 days to find your own place. I'll help with the deposit if you need it, but you're moving out. Dad, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. I pulled out the second set of keys. These are yours for the next 30 days. After that, I'm changing the locks again, and you won't have a copy. She took the keys, handshaking. Where are we supposed to go? That's for you and Marcus to figure out. You're both employed. You can get an apartment. I stood up. I'm done being walked over, Rachel. I'm done being convenient. If you want a relationship with me after this, it's going to be built on respect, not dependency. I went to my bedroom and closed the door, locked it, stood there listening to Rachel cry in the kitchen, hating myself and knowing I was right to hate what I was doing but wrong to have let it get this far. My phone rang. Tom, me lavier. Gerald, I got your message last night. You sure about this? Completely. All right. I'll have the formal eviction notice drawn up by Monday, though from what you're telling me it sounds like you've already handled it. I want the paperwork anyway, in case they don't leave voluntarily. Smart. Also, Gerald, I'm sorry about Linda. Thanks, Tom. You need anything else, you call me. Day or night. After we hung up, I sat on my bed and looked at my room. Everything back where it belonged, more or less, but it felt different now. Violated. They'd been in here, going through my things, deciding what stayed and what got dumped in the garage. The wooden chest in the corner. I opened it. My father's tools still inside. The letter he'd written me when I graduated college. Photos of Sarah. My mother's jewelry. Saved for Rachel. They'd rifled through it. I could tell from how things were arranged. Careful, but not careful enough. I spent the rest of the day putting my room back together properly. Found more of my things in the garage. Books. My father's watch. The framed photo of Sarah and me on our wedding day that used to sit on my dresser. Rachel knocked on my door around dinner time. Dad, Marcus is home. He wants to talk to you. I don't want to talk to Marcus. Please, Dad. 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I opened the door. Marcus stood behind Rachel, wearing his work clothes. Auto mechanic, good with his hands, terrible with boundaries. Gerald, I think we got off on the wrong foot this morning, he started. You broke into my bedroom, Marcus. There's no right foot for that conversation. We didn't break in. We just installed a lock, without my permission, on my door, in my house. I could feel my blood pressure rising. You know what that's called? Breaking and entering. I could have called the cops instead of a lawyer. Over a lock, over unauthorized occupancy, and illegal eviction. Yes, Marcus, over a lock. I looked at Rachel. Both of you have 30 days. Find an apartment, pack your things, go. What if we don't? Marcus crossed his arms. Then the sheriff's department physically removes you, and everything you own goes to the curb. Is that what you want? Rachel grabbed Marcus's arm. Let's just go pack. We can stay with your brother until we find something. We shouldn't have to. Marcus, please. They went upstairs. I heard drawers opening and closing, low, angry voices. Eventually, silence. I made myself a sandwich and ate it standing at the kitchen counter. Wondered what Sarah would think of all this. She'd always been better with people than me, better at knowing when to be soft and when to be firm. But Sarah wasn't here, hadn't been here for 12 years. And I'd spent those 12 years trying to be both parents to Rachel, trying to make up for the loss, trying to fill a hole that couldn't be filled. Somewhere along the way, I'd forgotten that parenting meant teaching your kid to stand on their own feet, not letting them lean on you until you both fell over. Around 10 p.m., I heard Marcus's truck start up, looked out the window to see them loading suitcases and boxes. Rachel looked up at the house once, before getting in the passenger seat. Even from a distance, I could see she was crying. The truck pulled away. I went to bed in my own room, in my own house, and slept better than I had in years. The next morning, Sunday, I called my brother-in-law, Linda's widower, Paul. Gerald, how are you holding up? Been better. Listen, I need to ask you something. When Linda was sick, did Rachel ever visit? Pause. Long enough to tell me everything. Paul? She came once, Gerald. Right at the beginning. Stayed maybe an hour. In 6 months? Linda didn't want me to tell you. She said Rachel was busy, had her own life. I sat down. She told me she was visiting every week, helping you with the kids. The kids are in their 20s, Gerald. They don't need help. And no, Rachel wasn't here. After we hung up, I went through my phone records. All those Saturdays Rachel said she was at Paul's. All those texts saying she was helping with Linda's care. Lies. Every single one. I found her on Facebook instead. Photos from every Saturday for the past 6 months. Her and Marcus at restaurants, at the beach, at a concert, shopping. While my sister was dying, Rachel was living her life and lying to me about where she was. I called Tom again. I want to update my will. Remove Rachel entirely. Everything goes to Paul and Linda's kids. Gerald, are you sure? That's a big step. I'm sure. Can you have it ready this week? I'll have it ready tomorrow. Monday morning I went to the bank. Removed Rachel from all my accounts. She'd been listed as a beneficiary. Could access them if something happened to me. Not anymore. Then I went to work. First day back after Linda's funeral, my team gave me space, which I appreciated. Spent the day reviewing structural reports, double-checking load calculations, doing the kind of detail-oriented work that kept me from thinking about anything else. Rachel called 6 times. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. Dad, please talk to me. We're at Marcus's brother's, but there's no room for us. We need to come back. Dad, I'm sorry. We made a mistake. Can we please just talk about this? Dad, you can't just kick us out. That's not legal. The last one made me laugh. Not legal. From the person who'd just committed illegal eviction. Tom called Tuesday afternoon. Eviction notice is filed. They've been formally served. Also, your new will is ready to sign. I'll be there in an hour. The will was 12 pages. Tom walked me through every line. Everything I owned, the house, my savings, my retirement accounts, my life insurance would go to Paul, Linda's eldest son Michael, and her daughter Emma. Split evenly. Rachel got nothing. I signed every page. Tom witnessed it, filed it officially. You know she's going to contest this, Tom said. Let her. I'm of sound mind. This is what I want. Wednesday, Rachel showed up at my office. My assistant tried to stop her, but Rachel pushed past. Dad, we need to talk. Now. I looked up from my computer. We have nothing to discuss. You can't kick us out. That's our home too. No, Rachel. It's my home. You were guests who overstayed their welcome and then committed several crimes. Crimes? You're being ridiculous. I pulled up the eviction notice on my screen, turned it so she could read it. Illegal eviction, unauthorized occupancy, installation of locks without owner consent, breaking and entering, fraud. Tom filed criminal complaints this morning. The DA is reviewing them. Her face went pale. You're having us arrested? I'm letting the law decide if what you did was criminal. Which it was. I closed my laptop. Rachel, you lied to me for 6 months about visiting your aunt. You moved a stranger into my bedroom. You threw my belongings in the garage like trash. You've been living off me for 5 years without contributing anything meaningful. At what point did you think this was okay? We needed help. Then you should have asked. Like an adult. Instead, you lied, manipulated, and stole. I stood up. You have 27 days left. I suggest you spend them finding an apartment, instead of bothering me at work. I'm your daughter. Yes. And I raised you better than this. Which means somewhere along the way, you chose to become someone who treats family like this. That's on you, not me. Security showed up then. My assistant had called them. They escorted Rachel out. She didn't call again. Thursday, I got a call from Marcus's brother Dean. Didn't know him well, we'd met twice at family events. Mr. Watson? This is Dean Parker, Marcus's brother. I know who you are. Look, I need to be straight with you. Rachel and Marcus told us their whole house flooded, that's why they needed to stay with us. But I just saw the eviction notice they got served. What's really going on? I told him. Everything. The bedroom, the lock, Marcus's father, the lies about Linda. Long silence. Jesus Christ, Dean said finally. Mr. Watson, I'm sorry. I had no idea. They need to leave my place too. I've got kids. I'm not running a shelter for liars. That's between you and them. Yeah. But I wanted you to know not everyone in Marcus's family is like this. My parents would be ashamed if they knew. I appreciate that, Dean. For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. Sometimes people need to hit bottom before they'll change. After we hung up, I allowed myself to hope. Maybe this would wake Rachel up. Maybe she'd realize what she'd done, make real changes, become the person I'd raised her to be. But I wasn't counting on it. The next week was quiet. I went to work, came home, lived in my house without walking on eggshells around Marcus, cooked meals without Rachel criticizing my recipes, watched TV without Marcus's father. Wait, I'd never actually lived with him, just almost did for 12 hours. The house felt bigger, emptier, but not in a bad way. Room to breathe. Saturday, I drove to Paul's. Brought lunch from the deli Linda loved. We sat on his back porch, eating sandwiches and not talking much. Rachel called me, Paul said eventually. Asked if she could borrow money. Said you'd kicked her out over nothing. What did you tell her? I told her I knew she hadn't visited Linda, that she'd lied to you for months while her aunt was dying. Then I hung up. I took a bite of my sandwich, chewed carefully. I changed my will. Everything goes to you and the kids now. Paul looked at me. Gerald, you don't have to do that. I want to. You were there for Linda. Your kids were there. Rachel wasn't. Family isn't about blood, Paul. It's about showing up. She's still your daughter. I know. But I'm done rewarding bad behavior. Maybe if she has to actually face consequences, she'll grow up. And if she doesn't, then at least I'll know I tried everything. I finished my sandwich. Linda was right about them using me. I should have listened. Linda loved you. She just wanted you to be happy. I'm working on it. The 27th day, I came home to find Marcus's truck in my driveway. Rachel standing on the porch. My jaw tightened. I parked, got out slowly. You're trespassing, I said. Dad, please. Just listen. We found an apartment. We're moving in this weekend. We just need to get the rest of our things. Fine. You have 1 hour. I'll be watching to make sure you only take what's yours. They worked fast, I'll give them that. Boxes of clothes, kitchen items they'd bought, electronics. I checked every box. Caught Marcus trying to take a TV I'd bought 3 years ago. That stays. Come on, we need a TV. Then buy one. That's mine. He put it back, glaring. When they finished loading the truck, Rachel turned to me one last time. Dad, I'm sorry. I know I messed up. Can we, maybe in a few months, can we talk? I looked at my daughter, 34 years old, Sarah's eyes. My stubborn chin, a person I'd raised and loved and apparently failed somewhere along the way. You want to talk? I said. Get your life together. Get some therapy. Figure out why you thought any of this was acceptable. Then maybe we can have a conversation about rebuilding trust. But Rachel, that's years away, not months. You don't fix what you did with a phone call. She nodded, crying. Got in the truck. They drove away. I went inside, walked through the house room by room, kitchen clean, living room empty of their clutter, my bedroom exactly as I'd left it this morning. The house was quiet, but it was mine again. I called Tom. They're out. Thanks for your help. Glad it's resolved. You doing okay? Getting there. That night, I sat on my back porch with a beer and watched the sunset. Thought about Sarah, about Linda, about the daughter I'd raised and the stranger she'd become. Tomorrow I'd wake up in my own house, in my own room, with locks only I had keys to. I'd make coffee in a kitchen that stayed clean. I'd live my life without supporting two adults who should have been supporting themselves years ago. It hurt. God, it hurt like losing Sarah all over again, but it was the right kind of hurt, the kind that comes from setting a broken bone. Painful, but necessary for healing. My phone buzzed. Text from Paul. Michael wants to know if you're coming to dinner Sunday. Emma's making Linda's lasagna. I smiled. Typed back. I'll be there. Should I bring anything? Just yourself. Your family. Yes, I was family. And family showed up. Family told the truth. Family didn't throw your belongings in the garage and lock you out of your own bedroom. I'd spent 5 years confusing, enabling with love. Spent 12 years trying to fill a hole that Sarah left, using Rachel as the filler instead of accepting that some holes can't be filled, only lived with. But I was done with that now. I finished my beer, went inside, locked the door behind me, my door, my locks, my choice, and went to bed in my own room. For the first time in longer than I could remember, I felt at peace. 3 months later, I got a letter. Rachel's handwriting. Inside was a money order for $300 and a note. Dad, this is the first payment toward paying back everything we owe you. Marcus and I are in counseling. We're learning a lot about ourselves and about boundaries. I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. I just want you to know I'm trying to do better. Love, Rachel. I held the money order for a long time. $300 wouldn't make a dent in what they owed, but it was something, an acknowledgement, a start. I didn't cash it. Put it in the wooden chest with my father's tools and my mother's jewelry. A reminder that people can change if they want to, if they're willing to do the work. Whether Rachel would do that work, I didn't know. Time would tell. But in the meantime, I had a life to live, a house to enjoy, family dinners with Paul and the kids every Sunday, my sister's memory to honor by showing up, telling the truth, and not letting anyone walk over me ever again. Linda would have been proud. I know Sarah would have been too. And for the first time since this whole mess started, I was proud of myself. For standing up, for saying no, for remembering that love without boundaries isn't love at all. It's just slow destruction. And I was done being destroyed.